Hi, it's Ian from the Postal Hub Podcast.
And Marek from Last Mile Experts.
And we are the Last Mile Prophets. This is the last word on the last mile. It's recently been announced that the US Postal Service has finally selected the supplier to provide its next generation of mail delivery vehicles. It's been a long and torturous process. Marek, I don't know if you've been following it, but it seems to have dragged on longer than Dallas.
And it gets even more fun when you hear the name of the organisation that's going to be supplying them.
Well, I feel like we're stuck in Bobby's dream sequence at the moment. The US Postal Service has awarded the contract. It's a multi-billion-dollar modernisation of its delivery vehicle fleet, not before time. I mean, I really feel for the delivery drivers for the US Postal Service. They're driving vehicles that catch fire.
Don't have airbags.
This is... I won't.
Ian, you've got to share the name of the company.
I was building up to that. The name of the company is Oshkosh. And I honestly looked at that and I thought, why is a children's clothing manufacturer building the next generation of vehicles for the US Postal Service? Turns out there are two companies called Oshkosh. One that makes children's clothing, and the other one is a defense contractor based in the town of Oshkosh in Wisconsin.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, Ian, are these new vehicles going to be bulletproof or something?
They'll be very cuddly. Bulletproof? Let's not joke about that. I mean, it boggles my mind how many postal delivery vehicles get, carjacked. Now, it's a big contract though, Marek. And this is where what I want to sort of tease out today is that the US Postal Service has taken a very different approach to other big carriers. Now, I know that the US Postal Service has a massive fleet, but I do wonder why they would take the approach of saying, well, we're going to have one supplier who provides all of our vehicles in one hit, as opposed to maybe having a multi-supplier approach and building and having vehicles that are horses for courses. Sometimes you might need a long wheelbase van. Sometimes a smaller vehicle will be appropriate. Why they've gone for the big contract. Marek, what's your background here? What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I suspect you're closer to the postal world, but my feeling is it's because that's how it's done. You do big contracts, it's much easier. You do one big tender and it's basically sorted for the next 10 years.
Or 25 years in the case of the current vehicles. Yeah.
Well, this one, it's a 10-year contract apparently. So I think that's probably why. But let's talk about why it's probably not optimal. Exactly as you said, there are different companies have different specialization. If you're going to ask someone to make something very much dedicated for you, particularly if, as it would appear to be here, it's not a company that's got great experience in last mile logistics. It's interesting.
It's an unusual looking vehicle too.
Okay, we can talk about whether it's beautiful or not.
Lovely visibility, right? It's got a lovely big windscreen, but my goodness.
Well, I'm also a little bit intrigued about the steering wheel on the wrong side for the US, which is apparently designed to make it easy to put the letters in a letterbox.
Lean out the window. Now, it says here the Postal Service fleet has more than 230,000 vehicles in every class. That is a big fleet.
It's
230,000 vehicles. Now, that's in every class. And has approximately 190,000 that is, deliver mail 6 and sometimes 7 days a week.
But Ian, let's not move away because we didn't finish this last point. So because I think you made a really good point. What's the alternative? What are the big boys like Amazon doing? So you've got guys like Amazon who simply invest in a company that produces them. So you get best in class technology, but you're not forced to only buy. You've got your foot in the door, but you can still go elsewhere. Others would tend to find somebody that's got experience in this place. So there are several manufacturers, Nissan's pretty good, few others, that have got good vehicles, Mercedes, that you can use that are maybe off the shelf to a large degree.
Yeah.
Optimized, standardized, low cost. And then the final thing, this is a really important thing, and this is something we got when I was at Amazon and at DPD as well. By creating something like this, there is no way on earth a subcontractor is going to invest in that thing because it's not going to be universal for other purposes. So you've got an immediate issue that it's going to be very hard to find a subcontractor with that vehicle. So for all of those reasons, I would really question why the USPS is going this way. Is it really the way it has to happen? Is it really the best way? And let's be very honest, a lot of other large postal operators do it differently.
Let's just also talk about end of life for these vehicles. I know it's a bit early to be talking about end of life, but look at what Australia Post does. Look at what various other postal operators do. They keep their vehicles for 5 or 6 years and then they sell them. Now, the current vehicles have been in service for up to 30 years. Is anybody going to buy one of them from the US Postal Service? Maybe a collector. Whereas if you look around the streets, wherever you are, you'll see old DHL vans, you'll see old Australia Post vans. You just look at the colours and you know they've just had to peel off the decals and sell them. Even Australia Post used to sell its old postie bikes when it had all those petrol-powered Honda CT110 postie bikes for those of you in Australia. Now, Australia Post would sell all of them at auction at their end of life. Now, what do you do with a fleet of, you said the figure, what was it, 100 and...
There's basically between 50 and 165,000 apparently will be built.
Now, is anybody going to buy them apart from a collector?
Do you know what it reminds me of, Ian? Do you remember the Routemaster buses in the UK, the double-deckers?
Oh, yeah.
Great buses, but again, a collector or someone who wants to do speciality tours would buy it, but who else would buy the things? The only good thing about the Routemasters is they were indestructible. I think they were built in the 40s and 50s, and there's still some of them, I think, operating today. So it's incredible. But this is a fleet that's been built for purpose, whereas you've got other options, as you said, the Amazon option, which was help contractors get Mercedes-Benz vans, invest in Rivian. Is it Rivian? Yeah,
gosh,
correct.
And then there are whereas other posts with big fleets. Admittedly, I don't know of any post off the top of my head that's got that size of fleet.
Well, let's try. I wonder China. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. But I'll bet you China Post buys something off the shelf.
Almost certainly.
But Ian, I think what is really interesting here is, have they really thought ahead? Because on the positive side, the vehicles are designed to be, retro-engineered with electric engines if necessary. What about autonomous driving? If I'm right, and I think I might be, that within the next 10 years, that's going to become a big thing. Is this vehicle easily retrofitted as an autonomous vehicle? I'm not sure. And I think it's incredible to go for a contract of this amount in a space that is changing so dynamically, where, by the way, it could turn out that within the next 10 years, the last mile has evolved to such a degree that it's a different type of vehicle needed. And these guys are going to have potentially 165,000 vehicles that are not fit for purpose.
And let's just throw another cracker on the bonfire here, Marek, and that is that it's taken them a long time to get to this point. This decision-making process seems to have been interminable. It's dragged on for a long time, and if they'd made the decision 4 years ago, whenever it was that this process began, I might be exaggerating with 4 years, the vehicles will already be in service. And anyway, I know it's wisdom in hindsight is a wonderful thing, but in the meantime, as I've covered on the podcast previously, they were putting out RFIs for things around drones. And why would you even think about looking at drones when your current delivery vehicles catch fire? Right? You got to get your priorities straight. Now, I'm not saying that one is the exclusion of the other necessarily. Anyway, Marek, I'm not going to drone on about drones.
Let me just tell you one thing when you mentioned fire, because I had this when I was at Amazon. Amazon's a sort of organization, I think this is really positive. If you had a vehicle catching fire, the next day, all of them would be grounded. And I think, someone needs to stand back a little bit. What would be interesting, though, I reckon it would be great if someone from USPS could put us right and explain to us that we've missed something, or maybe the OIG who looks at what's happening there. Maybe someone from the OIG can say to us, hey guys, you missed it, because it would be interesting. But from my perspective, this is just a very strange arrangement.
Good that they've made a decision. Good that they're getting a new fleet. Questions about the methodology and about the decision to have a single supplier. But comment below, everybody. Tell us what you think. And if you've got the inside word, we'd love to hear the inside word as well. Marek Różycki, thanks for being part of The Last Mile Profits today.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, everyone.